Joining us here on JoyNews Prime. Let's begin from the street, where some Ghanaians on the street of Accra say they are indifferent about the state of the nation's address tomorrow. President Akufo-Addo's address, which is in accordance with Article 67 of 1997 Constitution, will update Parliament on the performance of government over the past 1 year. Now, this 8th State of the Nation's address will be President Akufo-Addo's last address to Parliament ahead of the expiration of his second term in office. But ahead of that ceremony tomorrow, some Ghanaians on the street of Accra tell JoyNews the current economic challenges have left them with no hopes in the promises of the president.
To be His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa's last speech to address the nation. And for me, I don't see anything new that he's going to say. Because what he has been saying from the onset, you've heard it several times. And he's someone who doesn't go by his words.
Papa, what my speech? 2016.
President has been giving speeches since 2016. He doesn't fulfill his promises. This State of Nation address does not interest me. All I know is that we are suffering.
In fact,
for me, I wish he will be going the next day after his speech, because he has never worked on his promises. Yes, I will vote, and I will vote wisely.
Akufo-Addo, he has said a lot of things, and we've not seen what he has done. So I don't know, tomorrow I don't know what he's even coming to say. To my opinion, he's just wasting his time. His time up. He should just leave. That's it.
Meanwhile, industry players want President Akufo-Addo to spell out clear-cut policies to address recent economic challenges, including taxes, workers' welfare, and the exodus of health workers. We can listen to President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obin, and General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Richard Salome.
Let us know how he's going to navigate, especially the IMF program that we have adopted, to make sure that it is successfully implemented, so that the third tranche will come within time to come help sustain this gain that we are having in the stability of the city. Then, of course, we should also not do anything like bringing back the VAT on electricity that is removed. They say we are going to do consultation. We are not expecting that this thing come, because businesses have suffered in the past, and if the indicators are getting better, we do not bring any further cost of doing business to come and harm or hurt the recovery process that businesses are going to have. So this is an election year. If we spend more, it means that it's going to throw all these gains away. And that's why we are expecting that it also come out with the prudence in the management of our fiscal policy, so that we can be able to ensure stability of the economy.
We want to hear the president spell out clear policies to deal with health worker welfare, not only doctors. I mean, even though I speak for doctors and dental surgeons, not only doctors, we know of various health workers going through burnout because of the workload that we have to go through, especially in the underserved areas. And so if they stay in this economy where it is difficult to live, and especially if they have to leave to the peripheries and underserved areas where the roads are not good, the amenities are not there, your children don't have good schools to also attend, then of course it makes sense, and it's difficult as it is, to take that economic decision that you also have to get out there so that you can ensure some future for your children.
Now, the plight of trained unemployed teachers, nurses and midwives has reached a critical stage, with private institutions reportedly shunning them for job opportunities. Now, according to association of these groups, private entities are now prioritizing factors such as longevity of service and the fear of losing these skilled individuals if the government absorbs them into workforce. Now, the most recent labor statistics report by the Ghana Statistical Service has revealed that over 1.8 million Ghanaians are grappling with unemployment, translating into 14.7% unemployment rate. Listen to Solomon Vuduga and Ibrahim Haruna, members of the unemployed trained teachers and nurses, expressing their frustrations about the situation.
Individual, as I'm here, it has been frustrating throughout. You wake up in the morning and you don't have anywhere to go. You sorted for an alternative option to explore, but you are confronted with some kind of challenges, ranging from, as qualified teachers, the only avenue that we can seek an alternative for is the private sector, the private institutions, and then home teaching. But as we sorted for that one, what happens is that these people also want someone that can stay with them for a longer period of time.
Right.
Because each teacher with their philosophy of teaching. So if you cannot stay with us for a very long time, before the children will adapt to your teaching philosophy and start to pick up in the classroom, then you are either leaving them or going somewhere. Right. So they are careful about our employment. This is what has led us into this devastating moment finally. So there is no option out there for us. We have many cards that is being distributed, and if you give the benefit of the moment, it will testify from our members, affected members. They will tell you, they will bear testimony to what I'm saying. And even speaking, the first panelist, Franklin Kujo, he said a lot of things. And even in his and I made a deduction, said people who are even employed in this economy,
true,
they are not fine, they are not getting it.
I've seen analyses where they say if you're earning anything less than 10,000 cedis in a month, it will be difficult to break even. So imagine the person who is making 2,000, 3,000, 1,500, 1,800. It means you're practically, you have to do magic to live.
So the most luxurious food that we depend on now is gari and sugar. Even that empty grade 9, we don't have anything added, no ingredients. That is what you depend on.
You say you are relying on soakings, gari soakings for now?
Yes, for now. And sometimes gobe.
Gobe is expensive now?
Yes, it's very, very expensive because of the high demand for it. Because I mean, even those are the working class, they also resort to gobe. And even just, I think there is gobe festival coming off. Yes, gobe festival coming off, led by John Hills, or yes, 3FM.
Right.
3FM, they are making the announcement. So it is very difficult. We depend on our parents. Sometimes you see they have to find for themselves and find for you.
Now, founder and president of Imman Africa, Franklin Kojo, however, indicated that the increase in unemployment situation in the country is a ticking time bomb if not addressed.
I'm a bit worried that as we speak right now, even those of us who are supposed to be gainfully employed, well, gainfully in quotes, really, gainfully employed, cannot make ends meet most of the times. And I think I saw an old mutual study, I think somewhere close to last year, that suggested that 2/3 of Ghanaians are financially stressed, which means that even when you are, even for those of us, for those people who are supposedly employed, their earnings do not take them throughout to that. They did not see the end of the month with their earnings, really. So it beggars belief, really, to think that close to 2 million people can be living, able-bodied men and women who are supposedly educated, cannot find jobs or would not find good employment. And that's a recipe for disaster. I mean, it's like a ticking time bomb we are sitting. But it's one of the most serious national security issues I suspect we should be dealing with as we speak right now. So those numbers are stuck, and it appears the numbers are increasing, and that even the solutions are not necessarily that coherent right now as we speak from the various political parties. You hear 1 million jobs here and there. You do not see a coherent picture yet. Of course, we'll delve into those matters, but it seems to me that we've created a situation, a country where only certain centers, towns and cities are attracting people, but even then they are not finding meaningful jobs. Which beggars belief, really, if we want to discuss the whole issues about industrialization, and ask ourselves what really were considered in suggesting $1 million per.
Meanwhile, senior lecturer at the Department of Economics at the University of Ghana, Dr. Priscilla Chumesi-Bafo, says any proposed interventions to assuage the situation must be practical in the labor market.
Any proposed intervention towards solving these problems, we have to look at what the solutions are in terms of tackling the challenges of the productive sector in the economy. What is the intervention doing in terms of removing the challenges that small and medium-sized enterprises face in this country? What is the proposed policy doing about also in terms of the supply side, the education, training, and skills of the people that are moving into the labor market? We know that technology is changing the way production is organized. And so for that matter, for any proposed policy intervention, it has to be intentional about lifting the barriers to production and equipping people in the labor market with the requisite skills in terms of digital skills, soft skills, and all the relevant skills that the changing labor market requires in this economy.
Now, away from the story, the latest report by Africa Education Watch has revealed that between the 2017 and 2018 and 2021-2022 academic year, the average government spending per student under the free SHS policy was 1,241, while parents spent 4,185 per annum. Now, the policy analysis highlight government struggles with the free SHS as the policy's budget credibility rate saw a continuous decline in 2019, 2020, and 2021-2022 academic years. More in the following report.
The report released by Africa Education Watch also found out that since the implementation of the free senior high school policy in 2017, senior high school enrollment increased from 813,448 in the 2016-17 academic year to 1.3 million in the 2022-2023 academic year. According to the report, the first 6 years of the policy saw an average of 422,940 students enrolled annually compared to an average of 260,490 annual enrollments for the last 6 years before the policy. Regarding government's allocation and expenditure, it stated that between the 2017-18 and 2023-24 academic years, a total of 12.8 billion Ghana cedis was allocated to the free senior high school policy, averaging 1.84 billion Ghana cedis annually. Between the 2017-18 and 2021-22 academic years, 5.3 billion Ghana cedis was spent on the policy, averaging 1.06 billion Ghana cedis a year. Between the 2017-18 and 2021-22 academic years, the average government spending per student under the free senior high school policy was 1,241 Ghana cedis, with parents spending 4,185 Ghana cedis per annum. EduWatch suggested that in the medium to long term, the Ministry of Education must develop and implement a strategy to gradually transition Ghana's secondary education system from the current boarding as a norm to day as norm. EduWatch again suggested to the Ministry of Education to, in the short term, target the free SHS policy to focus more on the needs of children from the poorest households using data from the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program as a point of entry.
Now let's get on the phone and speak to the president of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Angel Kabono. Angel, now the latest report by EduWatch suggests the parents, actually paid almost 4 times what government spent on each student during a 4-year period. From where you sit, what do you make of that?
Oh, that is not surprising because you just have to be honest and truthful to yourself and know that this is something that is not too far-fetched from reality. Parents send their children to school They have to make sure that they prepare food for them to go to school. Parents spend money in maintaining those children in school. Parents visit those children very regularly. Sometimes the children themselves in school realize that those amenities is not there, and that they have to call home for some support from that. So that is the situation that we find ourselves in. And we have said this several, comparing someone whose daughter is in a Buri girl and a Catholic school that is located at around Katua, and the amount of money that is spent, these are the school fees that Catholic boarding school is charging. So we are not surprised about this finding.
All right, so based on these findings, there have been suggestions by EduWatch that parents that want their wards to stay in boarding should be made to pay for it. Is it the way to go?
I think so. Look, why I have a problem with the suggestion is to say that we should do away with boarding. No. Boarding schools serve a purpose. Boarding schools has contributed immensely to the development, academic development of a lot of Ghanaian children whose home environment is not conducive for academic work. So boarding school comes in to leverage or help in ensuring that the children are confined in an environment where they can study. However, boarding school does not come for free, because boarding school there should be a place to sleep. That place where the students are sleeping should be very well kept, so as not to spread sickness and disease. Boarding school comes with feeding, and so on and so forth. But it is wrong from my personal point of view that the government will decide to pick up the cost of boarding house as against the fact that there are a lot of children who are day students, who commute from home on daily basis to school. So who caters for the cost of those students who are day students? So for me, there should be a choice. Of course, a choice controlled by the state, monitored and administered by the state. But that choice does not come for free.
All right.
That is where I think that we should all sit down and look at and review those senior high school. Let nobody be offended. The fact of the matter that the idea is good, but there is no good idea that stays in perpetuity.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Kabano, for speaking to us here on JoyNews Prime. From education, let's shift our attention to agriculture, where the General Agricultural Workers Union, GAO, is challenging claim by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture that it has achieved 70% reduction in fertilizer smuggling between the year 2017 and 2020 under Phase 1 of the Planting for Food and Jobs program. An agriculture officer with the Directorate of Crop Services at the Ministry, Michael Owoso, addressing the 50th anniversary of the International Fertilizer Development Center, attributed the reduction to cooperation among stakeholders in the agricultural value chain.
From 2017 to 2022, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, we implemented what we call the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 1. And under that program, we subsidize fertilizers for farmers. During the implementation of the program, we faced a very serious challenge, which was that our fertilizers were being smuggled out of Ghana into neighboring countries, mainly Burkina Faso. And so we needed to find solution to this problem. They suggested that we design specialized sacks for all subsidized fertilizers. They also suggested that we reduce the weight of the subsidized fertilizer from 50 kilograms to 25. These two suggestions, reducing the weight and also having specialized branded sacks for the subsidized fertilizer, were so helpful. This was able to reduce smuggling so much, more than about 70%.
Now, about the General Secretary of GAU, Edward Karawe, disagrees with Mofa's claim, insisting that a lot has not been done for the sector to plug the loopholes in the fertilizer distribution chain. He joins us by phone on this development. Mr. Karawe, I want to find out, on what grounds do you disagree with Mofa?
Well, let me say good evening to you and those who are listening to us and watching us. Mofa has not been able to demonstrate in the past that they had the capacity to stop smuggling, and then secondly, where they had the capacity, they were willing to stop smuggling. I'm surprised that today Mofa is telling us that they've been able to, prevent fertilizer smuggling up to that high percentage. It is the same Mofa that told us that fertilizer smuggling had reached a novel state whereby animals were also participating in the smuggling. And there were donkeys that were smuggling the fertilizer that they had paid for and subsidized it to be smuggled outside the country, and they could not do anything.
All right.
And I'm also still surprised that while Ghana is unable to stop smuggling of cocoa to neighboring countries, now they have the capacity to stop the smuggling of fertilizer. What is the difference between the smuggling of fertilizer and the smuggling of cocoa? And the smuggling of cocoa, as we speak now, has reached a point where even countries that do not produce cocoa now have enough cocoa to export. So they become exporters of cocoa when they don't produce cocoa. So there's a contradiction about what they can do and what they are willing to do.
All right.
Yeah.
So what then is the reality on the ground with regards to this fertilizer claim by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture?
Well, the smuggling goes on, and smuggling will only abate so long as, it will only abate when the price of fertilizer in Ghana is far higher than that from our neighboring countries. And that one, it is just rational behavior of people that will stop the smuggling, whereby they will see that the smugglers will see that they can risk buying fertilizer here at a higher price, risk smuggling into the neighboring countries and sell it at a lower price and make profit. And that is rational behavior. Otherwise, we are not committed to stopping smuggling, and therefore we have not put in place the needed mechanisms to stop the smuggling of fertilizer or any goods that we don't want it to be smuggled. And I would say that in any case, Ghana cannot be so sensitive and concerned about smuggling of fertilizer more than the smuggling of cocoa, where we go and take syndicated loans and then we support farmers to produce the cocoa in diverse ways. Then after that, we allow the cocoa to be smuggled out. And we don't see anything wrong with that, or we don't have the capacity to stop that, and then we now have capacity to stop the smuggling of fertilizer. So what they are putting up together is just again something to just say. In any case, how did they stop the smuggling of fertilizer? Because for last year, 2023, the ministry did not subsidize any fertilizer. Farmers bought fertilizer at the open market price. So what is the role of the MOFA stopping fertilizer smuggling?
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Edward Karawe, for speaking to us here on JoyNews Prime. Moving on, carbon dioxide or CO2 emissions in the ECOWAS region increased marginally between 2018 and 2021, marking a setback for West African countries' efforts to enhance the proportion of renewable energy sources in their energy mix. The latest findings from the ECOWAS Directorate for Energy and Mines showed that the transport sector contributed almost half of all carbon dioxide emissions. Now, the report also showed that countries in the economic bloc failed to achieve their 35% target of renewable energy in the region's overall electricity mix. Michael Ashali has more from the ECOWAS key energy facts and figures.
Carbon dioxide emissions in the ECOWAS region, calculated according to the recommendations of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, increased by 1.1% per year between 2018 and 2021. That is contained in the latest findings from the ECOWAS Directorate for Energy and Mines. A closer examination of the data revealed that the transport sector, especially road transport, played a pivotal role in this increase. In 2021, the transport sector accounted for a significant 46% of CO2 emissions, solidifying its position as the main source of CO2 emissions. In 2020, the transport sector produced 85,522 gigagrams of CO2, which increased to 94,032 gigagrams of CO2, marking a considerable rise in just a year. Following closely behind, electricity generation emerged as another significant source of carbon dioxide emissions. Although there was a reduction from 622,230 gigagrams in 2020 to 58,239 gigagrams in 2021. In 2021, natural gas was the primary source of electricity production, accounting for 42% in the ECOWAS region. It was followed by petroleum products, which accounted for 37%, and hydroelectricity, 19%. Photovoltaic solar represented less than 1% in the production of electrical energy in ECOWAS. In July 2013, the Authority of Heads of State in the region adopted the ECOWAS Renewable Energy Policy, EREP. This aimed at increasing the share of renewable energy in its electricity mix to 35% in 2020 and 48% by 2030. Complementing the EREP is the ECOWAS Energy Efficiency Policy, which aims to make available 2,000 megawatts of power generation capacity through efficiency gains and ultimately double the rate of improvements in energy efficiency. Charcoal produced was at an all-time high, with many people in the West African Economic Bloc depending even more on charcoal than electricity. The share of renewable energy in electricity generation increased from 18.4% in 2018 to 20.7% in 2020. It reduced marginally in 2021 to 20.2%. While grappling with these concerns, there was a glimmer of hope in the fact sheet. It points out a gradual increase in the share of renewable energies in the production of electrical energy, growing by 3.3% annually between 2018 and 2021. The African continent stands among the regions most severely affected by the detrimental consequences of climate change. In response, the United Nations Development Programme UNDP emphasizes the need for African nations to curb their production of pollutants, including carbon dioxide, and promote the adoption of renewable energy. JoyNews' Air Quality campaign is in collaboration with New Narratives, with funding from the Clean Air Fund. The funder had no say in the content of the story. For JoyNews, Michael Ashali.
You're still watching JoyNews Prime with me, Carlos Calone. We'll take a short break or return with more. Please stay. Welcome back. Now, Chairman of Parliament Mines and Energy Committee, Samuel Atache, has stirred controversy with claims there may be persons seeking to run down Strategic Mobilization Limited, SML. Now, the company, an indigenous Ghanaian company, has been in the eye of the storm after a recent investigative piece by the Fourth Estate, which claimed the GRA had awarded a questionable contract to SML worth $100 million a year. GRA and SML maintain there's been no wrongdoing, with SML suing the Fourth Estate for defamation. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante now reports.
Eye of the storm after that Fourth Estate investigation having to do with the alleged 3 billion cedi lie. Now SML has suspended the deal pursuant to the directive from President Akufo-Addo and also pending an investigation by KPMG. Today, the Mines and Energy Committee have been touring the SML facilities here in Tema, and according to Samuel Atachia, it appears some persons want to run down SML, which is an indigenous Ghanaian organization.
If you have a sense of technology, and if you see how there has been monumental theft in terms of how under declarations are done, I'm afraid they've come to really expose something very huge. What I hate is to try and do propaganda when you don't have the facts. And that's what some people are doing. A lot of people do not have any clue as to what these individuals are doing here, this company is doing here. Yet they've come to conclusions already.
Samuel Atachia also says that the difference between the period before SML was introduced to Ghana's downstream petroleum sector is like day and night.
I believe that this is a world-class setup. And let's see what the president will say, and then we'll continue. Giving the whole nation some rest in terms of revenue guarantees by the technology they've deployed. I don't think I should even speak to this matter. The Ghana Revenue Authority that hide them and can testify as to what they've done. So what was and what is now is like day and night.
The director at SML has been assuring that the work they've been doing has saved the country a lot of money.
We do transaction audit. We also do audit and assurance for revenue in the downstream petroleum. We work with JRA, and what we do is that we use IO technology. That is, we have proprietary software and then hardware technological solution that we bring together to address problems in audit and assurance for downstream petroleum in Ghana. Our performance has been remarkable and it has been unprecedented. I think that JRA has already said this, and allow me to reiterate. When we came into the downstream petroleum, the average taxable volume that was there was between 240, 250. But what we have done is that we have doubled that volume based on the controls that we have put in place to audit and assure revenue in the downstream petroleum. And for that matter, we have been able to push from the average taxable volume from the 250 level to 450. And we have not just brought it to that level, we have sustained it. So we have the taxable volume, that is the volumes that government is able to tax and get money for petroleum tax revenue. Translates into, over the years, for the 3.5 years, on yearly accumulation basis, this translates into over 12 billion Ghana cedis, as we have put it there, and it is unprecedented. What we are using, the IO technology, state-of-the-art technology we are using to do this is unprecedented in Ghana. And that is what we want to highlight for Ghanaians to know, that we are doing a good job, we are contributing to Ghana's growth, and we are willing to commit and sustain this growth and contribute for as long as they will allow us to do the work.
Well, we do not know yet what exactly is in that KPMG investigation that has since been presented to the president. We expect that in the coming days, the president may cause that investigation report to be published. But SML has always maintained that it has not done anything wrong. In fact, it has sued the fourth estate for some millions of Ghana cedis in court for defamation. And fourth estate have also maintained that their work meets the required journalistic ethics. Reporting from SML facility here in Tema, Kweku Asante reporting for JoyNews.
From Tamale, let's take you to the northern part of the country, where the lack of rehabilitation center in that part of the country is said to be affecting the treatment of severe drug and substance addiction. Currently, there is no rehabilitation center in the entire 5 regions of the north, which means clients with severe addiction cases have to be referred to the Accra or Cape Coast for treatment. Dr. William Frank Hale Kumsin, who is a psychiatrist in the Tamale Teaching Hospital, is concerned about the increasing rate of tramadol and marijuana use, especially among the youth in the area.
Substance abuse is a big issue in the 5 regions of the north. This has forced some chiefs in some jurisdictions to sanction the formation of neighborhood task force to help deal with the canker. But the issue is more Herculean when there are no rehabilitation centers to help treat addicts. This is the case of the Tamale Teaching Hospital. The Tamale Teaching Hospital currently has no rehabilitation center. Speaking at a donation by the Zen Riders to the psychiatric units of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, a psychiatrist at the facility, Dr. William Frank Hill Compson, said the lack of a rehab center is a significant need that is lacking.
We get a lot of people coming in with tramadol addiction, pethidine addiction, cannabis, all sorts of addictions, right? And so we have a few beds in that if the patient needs to go through the withdrawal phase, like when they stop taking the medication, sometimes the body reacts a bit. We detain them during the day and then we give them the medications to make it easy for them to cope. At the moment, there are no drug rehabs in Tamale, which is a significant need that's lacking, right? If we had a rehab, it would have helped impact so many lives. So in extreme cases where if we do our interventions here and it's still not good enough, we still have to refer cases to the Accra Psychiatric Hospital.
The founder of the Zen Riders, Michael Amankwa, who led a team to ride from Accra to Tamale to create awareness on mental health, called on all to join the fight.
And as a mental catalyst, I seek to help people, live their life's potential. And at the core of that is our physical health and mental health. And sadly for us, when we talk about mental health, people think it's people who are, a bit unwell and they're on the streets, tattered and, don't have their clothes on and eating from the garbage and all of that. But statistics says that 1 out of 5 Ghanaians is suffering, from mental health. Okay, but just because they are clothed and acting normal does not mean that they are not. And at the core of it, as a country, if we really want to be productive and move our nation forward, we need to be mentally sound. So as a club, being able to ride from Accra to Tamale and back to Accra in 10 days, you want to be you definitely have to be physically fit as well as mentally sound and sharp.
We'll take a short break. We'll return with Showbiz. Please stay with us.